Is sports betting better than day trading? Let's find out. I get this argument all the time when it comes to people in the stock market and sports bettors. They're two different types of people. We're going to go through and I'm going to show you the differences between day trading and sports betting and see how we can approach to make them similar. So let's start out with day traders. Let's see what day traders do. Okay, so day trading is in the stock market, obviously, right? In the stock market, what you have to do there to be a day trader, first thing right off the bat, before anything else, your account, okay, has to have a minimum of $25,000 to be able to day trade. That's a rule in day trading. Okay, the accounts like Robinhood, E-Trade, they won't let you day trade consistently each day without at least $25,000 in your account. So people that are doing this, obviously, that's like your bankroll in sports betting. You have a minimum $25,000 there to work with. So you have to have at least $25,000 to be able to do anything with day trading. The next thing is going to be the focus of a day trader. So the focus of a day trader is ROI, okay? It's not about getting quick money. It's about what's the percent that they're going to make on the amount of money that they have in their account over a long period of time. So if they're getting 10% to 30% over the course of an entire year, then what? They're happy with that, okay? Because they have enough money in that account that it actually makes a difference over the term of a year, making an ROI of 10 to 30%. Now, the mindset of a day trader is not get rich quick, okay? They understand that they're not going to go and invest into a stock and they're going to take, let's say, 25,000 and they're going to make 50,000 in one day. That's not a double up, it's not a get rich quick. They know that that's not what it is. Their focus here is on the ROI, okay? Being able to produce an ROI long term. Now let's do an example of what a day trader looks like and what they do. Okay, so for an example, let's just say an Apple stock. All right, let's say they buy $50,000 worth of Apple stock. Now I'm just saying that, like I said, let's say they have a $50,000 bankroll in their account. This is the minimum that you need. Let's say they have $50,000. All right, they buy $50,000 worth of stock. Let's say the Apple stock is at $275 a share, and it goes to $276 a share in literally, let's say, 20 minutes to an hour, okay? What they do is they'll sell, make their profit here of what? Probably, I mean, just eyeballing it, probably a couple $100. Anywhere from 100 to 500 is what they would make on that. And then they just redo it and they do it over again, okay? That's what day trading is. Day trading is just buying low and selling, not high, but just selling a little bit to make a little bit of profit. So what are you essentially doing right here? What you're essentially doing is taking your money and using that big sum of money to make a little sum of money and just replicating that over and over and over, which that is what creates your ROI long term. Now this is a low ROI for a day trader. Somebody that's successful doing this day in and day out, their ROI is a higher percentage than that. But this is on the low end, okay? And this is not doing it consistently 100 trades a day. But this is what a day trader looks at. Okay, and this is their path each day of what they go through. Now let's go take a look at a sports bettor and what a sports bettor goes through on a daily basis. So let's take a look at a sports bettor. Let's do the same exact thing here that a day trader does, but let's analyze a sports bettor. So first thing, you need what, 25,000 in a day trading account? Well, there is no minimum for a sports betting account, right? You could bet $1 if you wanted to. So there's no minimum there. So you don't really get somebody that has money put away. Okay, you get people that all. You have people that have money and people that don't have any money to join in to be able to bet on sports. Next thing is going to be the focus. The focus of a sports bettor is pretty much trying to 100x their bet. Okay, they're trying to 100x their wager, whether it be through parlays or underdog, betting on an underdog. They're trying to 100x their initial investment. Okay, their mindset is if I'm not making 100x, if I'm not making 20x, 25x what I'm putting down, then this isn't worth it. So essentially what a sports bettor is trying to do is they're trying to make a ton of money from small money. You see how this is a complete opposite outlook of a day trader, because they're taking a big sum of money and making a little bit and then compounding that. As a sports bettor, they're taking a small amount of money and trying to make a lot of money. And guess what that recipe ends up, what ends up happening there? What happens there is the sports books become rich. And you guys already know this. You guys see DraftKings, FanDuel, they're the biggest corporations out there, worth billions of dollars. Why? because of this rhythm of a sports bettor right here, where they're focused on trying to get 100x their money. They're trying to take a small amount of money and make a bunch of money off of it. So let's run through an example of what a daily process of a sports bettor goes through. Let's say it's on a Sunday, on an NFL Sunday. They got $10. So what do? They go put in a 10-teamer. Okay? Put a 10-team parlay in. It never wins, right? It never wins. It's just plain and simple. They basically just throw $10 away, and they just consistently always do that over and over and over. Now let's go ahead and say that sports bettor does that 1,000 times on the year. 1,000 times on the year, they put that $10 in. They never win because that's how it goes. They never win. Okay, no matter how much screenshots you see, all these sports books that are portraying that you could make thousands and thousands off parlays and stuff like that, you never end up hitting, right? So you end up being in the hole about $10,000 over a year, placing $10 bets and doing that 10-team parlay, doing it about 1,000 times. And you don't even really realize it because why? You're just throwing it out there because you're thinking it's just $10, $10 here, $10 here, 10 here, 10 here. Next thing you know, you're in the hole for an entire year. So again, let's go through the sports bettor, and then we're going to see how we can merge both to actually be a successful sports bettor and merge day trading into sports betting. So sports bettor, there's no minimum. Anybody could be a part of it. You don't need to have any money. You could trade with $5 if you wanted to, right? They're focused on 100xing their money through parlays and betting underdogs. They're trying to get that quick double up, or they're trying to 20x, 100x their money. They're trying to take small amounts and make a lot, which never happens. Never seems to pan out, just creates more frustration, right? Then they're trying to literally hit like a 10-teamer most of the time off of small money because that's what's going to produce your 100x, and you're going to be able to, walk off into the sunset after hitting your 10-team, which never ends up happening, right? You end up always losing it, whether it be by 1, whether it be by 5. You end up losing them. And guess what happens here? Sports books become the only ones that actually make money and the ones that become rich, okay? So let's go ahead and merge both. How could we be a successful sports bettor? By using the tactics of a day trader. Now, if you guys want to fast forward through all this and you guys want the successful picks that I use every single day and you want to learn my strategy on how I've been successful while using the day trading approach to sports betting, make sure you guys click the link in the description. So now let's talk about merging both. Let's take the sports bettor and let's take the day trader. And let's put them together and make a strategy where we can combine both, okay? Where we could become a successful day trader in sports betting. First thing is going to be bankroll. Just like a day trader, you need at least $25,000 to start day trading. Well, you don't need $25,000 to start sports betting. As a mix of both, I would suggest at least having $3,000, okay? $3,000 at least to start, because you got to have some type of money, okay? A couple $100 is not going to really do it to start off trying to merge day trading with sports betting. Next thing is going to be where your focus is going to be. Your focus is going to be the same thing as a day trader. It's going to be focusing on long term, okay? That means years, not days, not weeks, not months, years. Focusing on your ROI over the course of years, because this is where sports bettors literally fail every single day. Their ROI is depicted on daily, how they do on the day. If they lose on the day, they're emotional, they chase bets, they don't want to do it anymore. If they lose a whole entire week, they completely want to quit, they don't want to do it anymore. They're just mentally and emotionally just distraught most of the time. Whereas a day trader, they just know that it's on to the next day because they're just doing this consistently every single day. So eventually, over the course of the year, that's where they need to make their profit, not on the daily. Everybody loses one day. Everybody could lose a week. Some people could lose a month, but it's over the course of a year. Even if you lose an entire month, you still have 11 months to be able to profit. You have to remember that, okay? But long-term ROI is really where your focus needs to be at. Now, that's why I said starting bankroll at $3,000 minimum would be ideal. But obviously, you'd want more than that, because if you're focusing on getting 10 to 20%, let's say 10 to 30% ROI over the course of a year on $3,000, that's not a lot of money, right? But the real life way that any of this works is you need money to make money. Money produces more money. More money produces bigger money. That's just the way that it works. There's no way to get around it. There's no shortcut. If you have money, you can make money. If you don't have money, of course you got to start somewhere. But it's not going to be, you're not going to make thousands of dollars having no money. Okay, you have to realize that. That is where the mindset of a day trader understands that, and the sports bettor doesn't. Okay, make your mindset know that this is a long-term game. As long as I have the right strategies in place and I have the right edge consistently, then I'm going to be able to make that ROI consistently year in and year out. Now, instead of trying to be in the mindset of the get rich quick, like I said, the mindset needs to be long term, because that is where you will actually produce gains as long as you have an edge. So a day trader, yes, a day trader without a strategy will lose money as well. So you have to have the right strategy and you have to have an edge. So as long as you have the right strategy and the edge, then you're able to produce long term. Because if not, even the day trader is going to lose money if they don't have the right strategy. The right strategy is not to think that you're going to double up every single day. Okay? The right strategy is where we talked about with the day trader, where they're wagering high amounts of money to make little amounts, but then combining that and compounding that over time to create their ROI. So how do we make that work with sports betting? So your pretty much plays that you'd be putting in, you have to realize that you have to find yourself an edge. And when you have plays that have minus 110 most of the time, you're not going to find your edge there. Okay? There's usually not an edge at that. Now, if you guys have seen any of my other plays and other videos, you guys see that this is not where you find your edge. Okay? You find your edge where you're wagering on lines that are a bit higher, but they have a probability and an edge. They give you a slight edge, so that way you can compound that. That's where your day trading and sports betting comes into the mix, okay? Because let's say you're wagering $300, for example, but your payout is $150, which is essentially a minus 200 line in sports betting. You still, when you win this, okay, you still make half of your money back plus your original stake. So you're still making money. You're not making double what you put down, but this play right here, this could have been a 75% chance of winning, okay? So what did that do? That gave you an edge of 9%. Those are the plays that you need to find, okay? That is the probability that you need to find to be successful and to combine day trading. A day trader finds these type of pretty much plays within the stock market because they just sit there and they wait for the opportunity. They see the edge, they grab it, whether it be a slight drop in the stock where they buy it real quick and then it pops up a little bit and then they sell it. That's their edge. Comparing to sports betting is you're finding a play that gives yourself a plus percent edge, okay? You're buying that, and then essentially when you win that, that's your cash out, and then you're making your little bits of money. Doing that and combining that over time is what creates a bankroll from $3,000 up to $25,000. Okay? That's what creates that over the years. Not going out willy-nilly and betting minus 110s, betting parlays, doing all that garbage. All that does is take this account and turn it into zero. That's all that does. So you have to avoid that. So to combine day trading and sports betting, got to have that bankroll. Got to focus emotionally and mentally. ROI for years. Get rich quick doesn't exist. Forget about that. Okay? If you're in it to get rich quick, go take all your money and go put it on red or black. 50-50 shot. Not even really 50-50 shot, but go and throw it on that if you're trying to get rich quick. It's easier and it's quicker. Now, again, the edge. Find your edge, multiply that. This doesn't mean that every play that's minus 200, minus 250, minus 300 does not mean that those plays have an edge just because their implied probability is high. Okay? They have to have a true probability that's higher than the implied probability. So again, your true probability has to be higher than your implied probability to give you an edge. And that varies in every sport and every player prop. It varies. I couldn't obviously go through every single one with you right now, but like I said, if you want the plays and you want the strategies that go through this to make you successful, make sure you guys click the link in the description. Because not only do I have all the strategies in every single major sport that shows you how to get the true percentage, all right, compared to the implied probability, but I also post the answers for you. So that way you guys can see exactly on a daily basis which plays actually give you that edge and how you can actually create a bankroll that you've actually always wanted rather than you just keep donating time and time again. So if you want to mix sports betting and day trading and put it together and become a day trader in sports betting, this is the way to do it. Okay, this is where you have to focus. You cannot think that you're going to get rich quick, and you cannot think that, oh, I'm going to make a $20 parlay and I'm going to turn that into thousands of dollars. That's not how you do that. Broke people think that way. Remember that. Broke people think that way. Do not be like that in sports betting and donate and make the sports books rich rather than filling your own pockets.